She sat quietly in the lawyer's office, hands folded in her lap, trying to stay calm. Her sister was smiling, already looking proud, like she knew what was coming. The lawyer cleared his throat and began reading the will. Her sister was given a beachside villa with marble floors, a pool, and even an indoor cinema, the room filled with soft gasps and claps. Then came her turn, an empty parking lot. Her father laughed and said, "You can always sleep under it." The others laughed too, everyone except her. Her chest tightened, but she didn't let her face show it. She kept her eyes forward, pretending not to care. But inside, it felt like someone had slapped her, not because of the money, but because they didn't even try to hide how little she meant to them. Growing up, she had always been the one who helped. She stayed home when her mum was sick. She worked long hours at her dad's store. She gave up college to keep the family going when the business was falling apart. Her sister, on the other hand, was always out partying, travelling, getting everything she wanted. Yet it was her who got scolded when things went wrong, and her sister who got praise for doing nothing. Even when they promised to treat them equally, deep down she always knew they wouldn't, but she still hoped. And today, that hope finally died. She looked at her mother. No sympathy, just the same cold expression. Her father looked proud of his little joke. Her sister was too busy texting someone, probably showing off her new home already. She didn't cry, she didn't speak, she just nodded like everything was fine. But inside, something changed. She was done being the quiet, good daughter, done pretending this didn't hurt. As the others laughed and talked about the villa, she stood up slowly and walked out. No one followed. They thought she was weak. They thought she would disappear, like always. But they were wrong. She walked away with nothing in her hands, but fire in her heart. One day they would see. One day they would all regret this. She was used to being in the background. Since they were kids, her sister was always the favourite, the golden child, the one who got everything without asking. Her parents praised her sister for the smallest things, like getting a good photo or picking a dress. Meanwhile, she worked hard every day and barely got a thank you. In school, she studied late into the night while her sister stayed out with friends. When their dad's business started falling apart, she gave up her dream of going to college. Instead, she worked 2 jobs and helped her dad at the shop just to keep the family afloat. No one asked her to. She just did it because she loved them. Still, her sacrifices were never mentioned. Her sister, on the other hand, never lifted a finger to help. She always had the newest phone, the best clothes, and expensive vacations. Every time something went wrong, her parents found a way to blame her, not the sister. It was like she didn't exist unless they needed something. Once, years ago, her father had promised that the beachside villa would belong to both daughters. He had said it was for the family and would be shared equally. She remembered how he smiled and said, "This house is for both of you girls." She believed him. That memory gave her hope, even when things were unfair. But then the will came, and everything changed. The villa went to her sister alone, and she was left with an empty parking lot. Her father made a joke, and everyone laughed. No one remembered the promise. No one cared. For days, she felt numb. The pain wasn't just about the property. It was the years of being ignored, forgotten, and pushed aside. She wondered if they ever really saw her. One evening, while cleaning out old files, she opened her old email account. It had been years since she used it. She typed a few keywords into the search bar. Villa, share, dad. A message popped up. It was an email from her father, sent 5 years ago. The subject line said, "Villa Agreement." In the message, he clearly wrote that the property was meant to be split between the 2 sisters. Her name was there, in writing. She stared at the screen for a long time. Her hands shook a little. Finally, she had something. Proof. They couldn't pretend anymore. They couldn't erase her like they always did. This time, she wasn't going to stay silent. She stood in front of the empty parking lot, the only thing her parents had left her. At first, it looked like nothing, just cracked pavement, weeds growing through the lines, and an old sign that had faded over the years. Her father had laughed when he gave it to her, saying she could sleep under it if she had nowhere else to go. Everyone thought it was a joke. Even she did for a while. But something didn't feel right. The lot was in a busy part of town. New buildings were going up nearby. Cafes, apartment blocks, and even a shopping centre were only a few streets away. It made her wonder why her parents gave her this land, if it was truly worthless. They weren't the type to hand over anything by accident. She started asking questions. First, she looked through city records. Then she visited the local zoning office. That's when she learned something interesting. The area had recently been approved for redevelopment. Big changes were coming. New roads, public transport, and housing plans were all in motion. Her small, forgotten parking lot was now in the middle of a growing hotspot. Not long after, strangers began reaching out to her. A man in a suit offered to buy the land in cash. He said he wanted to build a small project, but didn't give many details. Another woman called and asked to meet in person. She hinted that the land might be good for a hotel. The offers came quickly, and the prices kept going up. It was clear people knew something she didn't. She kept digging. In one old city map, she saw plans for underground utilities running right under the lot, water, electricity, and even fiber lines. Someone had plans for that land. It wasn't just about location. Something valuable was either there or going to be there soon. Maybe even something buried underneath. She realized her parents must not have known. They thought they were giving her a piece of junk. Maybe it was their last joke. But they were wrong. The parking lot wasn't empty at all. It was a door to something bigger. Every time someone called or knocked on her door with a new offer, she smiled politely and said no. They tried to pressure her. Some got angry, but she stayed calm. She wasn't going to sell, not yet. She didn't know exactly what the land would become, but she knew one thing. It was hers. And this time, she wouldn't let anyone take it away. She wanted to forget about everything, but the pain of being betrayed by her own family didn't go away. They gave her sister a luxury villa and left her with a parking lot, thinking it was a joke. But instead of feeling sorry for herself, she decided to find out the truth. The first thing she did was hire a lawyer. She also found a real estate expert to look into the land and the documents connected to her family's properties. If there was something hidden, she wanted to find it. She needed to know why things had happened the way they did. As they started digging through papers, something strange came up. The villa that was given to her sister had been bought using money that didn't seem to belong to their parents. The lawyer looked deeper and found it was actually taken from a trust fund that had been created for many years ago. She remembered her grandfather had set up something for her when she was little, but no one ever talked about it again. The more they searched, the more problems they found. Old documents had her sister's name on them, but the handwriting looked off. The signatures were different. Her lawyer believed the papers were forged. Someone had changed the documents to take her name off and put her sister's name instead. She was shocked, but also angry. They didn't just forget about her, they stole from her. Then they found something even more interesting. The parking lot had a small storage unit nearby. It was rarely used, and the key had been sitting in her father's desk for years. She had never thought about it before. With her lawyer beside her, she opened the unit. Inside were boxes and boxes of old files. Her father had kept every record, bank statements, business deals, and letters from lawyers and accountants. Some of the papers were over 10 years old. It took days to go through everything, but soon they found what they were looking for. There were clear signs of illegal transfers. Money had been moved quietly through fake accounts and secret deals. The trust fund had been emptied slowly and used to pay for the villa, luxury trips, and even shopping sprees. Her name had been erased on purpose. Now she had proof. She held the documents in her hands and felt a mix of sadness and power. They thought she would never find out, but she had. They tried to leave her with nothing, but she had found everything. And this time, she wasn't going to stay quiet. Her sister posted photos of the villa all over Instagram. Every corner was shown off: the marble floors, the huge pool, the cinema room, and the garden filled with lights. The caption said, "Thank you, Daddy, for the dream house." Comments poured in. People called her lucky, rich, and perfect. She smiled in every photo like she had earned it. Later that week, her sister threw a big party at the villa. She called it a "Thank You, Daddy" celebration. Everyone was dressed up, music played loudly, and drinks were served in gold-colored glasses. She decided to go, but not as herself. She asked a friend to join her. He dressed like a real estate investor, wearing a sharp suit and carrying fake business cards. Together, they entered the party like they belonged. No one noticed them. Her sister didn't even recognize her. It had been a while since they'd seen each other. They listened closely, staying near small groups. Her sister told someone she was thinking of selling the villa. She said she wanted to move to Europe and start fresh. She laughed and said her parents would just buy her another place if she needed one. Her friend asked casual questions, pretending to be interested in buying. Her sister shared more detail. It became clear she had no idea about the fake documents or the trust fund money. She thought the house was truly hers, a clean gift from loving parents. She didn't know it had been taken unfairly. Standing there, watching her sister joke and dance, she felt so many things at once. Anger, sadness, and disbelief, but also something else, control. For the first time, she had the upper hand. She had proof of the lies. She had seen the documents. She knew the truth, but she didn't say anything that night. She didn't ruin the party. She didn't yell or cry or cause a scene. She just walked out quietly, her friend following close behind. Let her sister enjoy her party, she thought. Let her feel safe, because soon everything would change, but not yet, not tonight. One morning, she got a strange phone call. A man with a calm voice said he wanted to meet her about the parking lot. He didn't say much, only that he was ready to make a big offer. She was curious, so she agreed to meet him at a quiet cafe downtown. She didn't go alone. She took a small voice recorder and hid it in her bag. She had a feeling this meeting wasn't just about land. Something felt off. The man showed up in a black suit and sunglasses. He spoke politely, but there was something cold about him. He offered her a 6-figure deal in cash, just for the parking lot, but there was one condition. She had to keep the sale quiet. No lawyers, no questions, no public records. Just sign the papers, take the money, and forget about everything. That made her suspicious. Why would someone pay so much for a small piece of land, and why hide it? She asked who he worked for. He gave the name of a company she had never heard of before. After the meeting, she looked it up. Her hands shook when she found the name listed in some of her dad's old papers. It was the same company he used to move money through fake deals. It had also been mentioned in some of the files she found in the storage unit. This company was part of her father's shady business past. Suddenly, things started making sense. Her sister's villa, the stolen trust fund, the parking lot, it was all connected. Her father had used the company to hide money. Now, they wanted to keep it hidden. That's why they wanted her to sell the lot and stay quiet. They thought she wouldn't ask questions. But she wasn't that girl anymore. She replayed the recording of the meeting and saved it in a safe place. This man's offer had given her something more valuable than money. It had given her answers. Her family had tried to erase her, but their lies were starting to fall apart. She didn't take the money. She didn't sell the land. She walked away from that cafe with her head held high and the recording in her bag. She knew she was getting closer to the truth. She had a plan now, not just to protect herself, but to make sure they couldn't hide their secrets anymore. She invited her family to dinner. She said it was for peace, a chance to talk and let go of the past. Her parents agreed. Her sister came too, dressed in expensive clothes and acting like everything was perfect. They all sat at the table like nothing had happened. Smiles were fake, words were forced. She had a plan. Hidden in her bag was a small camera. It was placed in the corner of the dining room where it could see and hear everything. She didn't want to fight. She wanted the truth to come out. Dinner started slow. Her mother talked about a recent trip. Her father joked like always. Her sister showed photos from her phone. But she stayed calm and quiet, waiting for the right moment. She began to ask small questions. "Do you remember the trust fund Grandpa left?" she said softly. Her mother looked up, but said nothing. "Funny how the money disappeared," she added with a smile. Her father waved his hand and said she was imagining things. Her sister laughed and said, "You're still on that." Then she mentioned the parking lot. "Someone offered me a lot of money for it," she said. Her father looked nervous for a second, but then smiled. "Well, it's your only gift, so take it," he said. Her mother rolled her eyes. Her sister whispered something under her breath and laughed again. That's when she reached into her bag and took out her phone. "I met someone recently," she said. "He works for the same company you used years ago, Dad." Her father stopped smiling. Her mother went quiet. She pressed play. The room filled with the voice of the man who had tried to buy her silence. He offered money, told her not to ask questions, and said the company wanted the deal done fast. Her sister's eyes grew wide. Her father's face turned red. No one said a word. She looked at each of them slowly. "I know more than you think," she said. "I've read the emails. I've seen the documents. I have everything saved." Her father tried to laugh it off again, but the sound was weak. Her sister looked away. Her mother leaned forward, eyes sharp, but voice soft. "What do you want?" her mother asked. She didn't answer right away. She just looked at the 3 people who had lied, stolen, and laughed at her pain. For the first time, they looked unsure. For the first time, they listened. And she knew this was just the beginning. She went straight to her lawyer and showed him all the papers, recordings, and emails. She had enough proof to take action. It was time to stop staying quiet. With her lawyer's help, she filed a case in court. The case was about breach of trust and forgery. Her name had been removed from documents. Her trust fund had been used without her knowledge. The villa her sister lived in had been bought with stolen money. The case moved quickly because the evidence was clear. The court froze her sister's assets, which meant she could not sell the villa or take any money out of her accounts. Everything was put on hold. News of the case spread in the city. People started talking. The villa's ownership was now under investigation, and lawyers were looking into every detail. Her sister didn't take it well. She began posting online, writing long messages about being betrayed. She told everyone that her sister was jealous and wanted to destroy the family. She shared fake stories and old pictures, trying to make herself look like the victim. Some people believed her and left angry comments. Others stayed quiet. Their parents were also upset. They called her and begged her to stop the case. They said she was ruining the family name. Her father warned her that she would regret it. Her mother cried and asked why she was doing this, but she didn't stop. She had spent years being quiet, being the forgotten child. Now she was standing up for herself. She didn't care about the gossip or the angry looks. She had the truth. Her sister had everything handed to her without earning it. She had used stolen money, lied to everyone, and still acted like she was right. But now, things were different. Even though it was hard, she didn't feel scared. She told her lawyer to keep going, no matter what. This wasn't just about the villa or the money. It was about what was taken from her. Her name, her place in the family, her voice. She knew her sister would keep fighting back. She knew her parents would stay on her side, but she was ready for it. She had already lost so much. There was nothing left to fear. When people asked her if she wanted revenge, she said no. She wanted justice. And this was just the beginning. The truth had to come out. The documents were sent to a local news reporter. Pages of proof showing how the trust fund had been taken and used to buy the luxury villa. There were bank records, signed forms, and emails that clearly showed forgery and theft. The reporter responded quickly and asked to meet. Everything was explained in person, including the secret recording of the man who had tried to pay hush money. The story was published with the headline, "Family Scandal, Inheritance Stolen, Daughter Left with Parking Lot." The internet picked it up fast. Reddit threads exploded with angry comments. TikTok videos mocked the sister, calling her Villa Girl and using clips from her old Instagram stories. Her face was everywhere, but now people saw the truth. Followers dropped. Brand deals vanished. The sister stopped posting online, once proud and loud, now completely quiet. Strangers online were not kind. Memes were made. Even people who didn't know the full story had strong opinions. No one likes a fake fairy tale. The parents also went silent. No phone calls, no texts, nothing. The usual controlling voices had disappeared, maybe out of guilt, maybe fear, maybe both. Then a private message came from the sister, full of long explanations, claimed no knowledge of the stolen money, blamed the parents, pleaded for a second chance, asked for everything to stop, wanted to talk privately, to settle things quietly. The message was read from start to finish. Every line felt like a lie wrapped in soft words. Easy to beg after everything was taken. Easy to ask for peace when the world finally sees the truth. A short reply was sent back. "Sign over the deed or I press charges." No shouting, no big scene, just a clear choice. Either return what never belonged to her or face court, face public proof, face real justice. There was no longer fear, just clarity. Power had shifted. The forgotten one was now in control, not through revenge, but through truth, not with anger, but with facts. The family that once laughed at the girl with the parking lot was now silent. The sister with the villa, the parents with their secrets, cornered. This was no longer about money or property. This was about what was right. Years of silence were over. The world knew the truth. Now, it was their turn to choose. Give back what was stolen, or lose even more. The villa was silent. No music. No voices, no footsteps, just the soft sound of the wind coming through the open windows. Standing in the doorway, the air felt cold, even though the sun was shining. Marble floors, golden lights, high ceilings, everything looked beautiful, but it felt empty. It now belonged to the one who had been forgotten. After everything, the lies, the court papers, the truth finally coming out, the place was quiet. No laughter from fake smiles, no photos being taken for others to see. Just silence. Each step through the house brought back memories that didn't even belong here. This had once been a dream for both daughters, a place that was supposed to be shared. Instead, it became a symbol of everything that went wrong. Parents had picked sides. A sister had chosen greed, and one daughter had been left behind with nothing but an empty parking lot. Now, the story had changed. The court had spoken. The deed was signed over. The reporters had stopped calling. The public had moved on. But the people involved hadn't. The family was no longer a family. The sister had moved away, trying to start over far from the noise. The parents stayed quiet, too ashamed to speak. Their image was broken. Their lies had been seen by everyone. Justice had been done, but it didn't feel like a win. It didn't bring joy. It brought peace, and that was enough. No shouting, no celebration, just standing in the quiet, knowing the truth had finally been heard. Walking through the rooms, hands touched the walls, the windows, the edge of the kitchen counter. It was strange to own something so big, so beautiful, after being treated like nothing. But there was no desire to decorate it, no rush to fill it with things. This house wasn't the prize. The prize was self-respect, the chance to finally stand tall. Stepping out onto the balcony, the view opened wide. In the distance, the parking lot could still be seen. Still there, still untouched. The one thing given as a joke, the thing that started everything. Others thought it was useless, but it wasn't. It had its own value, just like the girl who received it. A soft smile appeared, not because of revenge, not because of pride, but because of peace. The villa was quiet now, and that was all it needed to be. Do you think she did the right thing by taking back what was hers and walking away from her family? Or should she have given them one more chance to make things right? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to hear more stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out.